The receptionist checked the screen twice, and the pause was the first crack in Charlotte's composure.
I'm sorry, but your insurance was canceled. The system won't authorize today's treatment.
Canceled? That has to be a mistake. I'm scheduled. I'm in the middle of chemotherapy.
She stepped away from the desk and called her mother Karen, the policyholder, her fingers barely steady.
Charlotte, honey, I was going to talk to you. Money's been so tight lately.
Mom, the hospital says my insurance is gone. What did you do?
The silence on the line was the loudest answer. Karen sighed, not with regret, but with inconvenience.
Things came up with Amelia's wedding. Maybe you can skip a cycle or two, just for now?
Charlotte walked out of the hospital without her infusion, the autumn air cutting through her thin cardigan. She had gone in to fight cancer and left unsure if her own mother planned to let her. Inside her apartment, Charlotte dialed her mother again, the phone pressed hard against her ear.
Mom, the insurance company told me you canceled the policy. Not that money was tight, you canceled it on purpose.
Charlotte, you don't understand. Amelia's wedding is non-refundable. I had to make a choice.
A choice? You chose a party over my cancer treatment, Mom. Do you hear what you're saying?
The line crackled with the weight of a mother refusing to apologize.
It's not a party. It's your sister's happiness. Doctors have waiting lists all the time. A few months won't kill you.
She actually said a few months won't kill me. She has no idea what I'm fighting.
Charlotte hung up, her fingers numb, the apartment suddenly too quiet. She knew every word of that conversation would echo louder than any scan result.
She didn't just cancel my insurance. She chose my sister over my life.
Charlotte sat frozen on the couch, then scrolled to Catherine's name and pressed call.
Charlotte? You sound terrible. What's going on?
She canceled my insurance, Kath. For Amelia's wedding. She told me to skip chemo for a few months.
She said that? What kind of mother chooses a vacation over her own daughter's life? You need that treatment, Charlotte. Every cycle counts. This isn't just selfish, it's dangerous.
I feel so stupid for thinking she'd ever really see me. I'm nothing to her.
Then see yourself. You are worth fighting for, and I'll fight alongside you. What's your first move?
The warmth in Catherine's voice was like a hand on her shoulder.
I'm calling the insurance company. I'm done being a victim.
The first step back from the edge was a promise to no longer be a passive patient. She dialed the insurance company's number, her voice steadier than she felt.
I need to know why my policy was terminated. Can you pull up the records?
The agent's reply was clinical. The plan was proactively terminated by the policyholder, not for non-payment.
Please send me written confirmation. I need every detail documented.
Within minutes, the confirmation appeared in her inbox, an official letter from the carrier. The letter read, "This policy was voluntarily discontinued at the request of Karen Morrison, effective immediately."
There it is. Not an accident. Not a misunderstanding. She chose this.
She stared at the letter until the words blurred, the weight of the proof pressing on her chest.
Now I have the truth. But it doesn't fix the cancer. It doesn't undo any of this.
She saved the document in a locked folder, evidence of a betrayal that could have killed her. Charlotte didn't give herself time to second guess. She called Karen, the document open on her laptop.
I have the insurance company's confirmation, Mom. You voluntarily canceled my treatment.
I did what I had to. Amelia's wedding is in 3 weeks. You can't expect me to disappoint your sister.
You're telling me a honeymoon is more important than my cancer treatment? You think I'm being difficult?
You're being selfish, Charlotte. This is Amelia's moment. Cancer doesn't mean the world stops for you.
The deposit for the beachfront resort had cleared the day Charlotte was supposed to start her next infusion.
Goodbye, Mom. Don't call me again.
That evening, Charlotte barely made it from the couch to the kitchen. Her body was starting to betray her.
4 days past my missed cycle. The fatigue is different now, heavier. It's not just the cancer anymore.
She hadn't told Catherine how fast she was declining. Some truths were too terrifying to shape into words. When Charlotte walked back through the hospital doors, Her slowness was not hesitation. It was exhaustion. On the oncology floor, a staff member flagged Dr. Patrick. A returning patient was visibly declining. He pulled up Charlotte's chart. The cancellation note wasn't an insurance lapse. It was marked policyholder request. He found her in the infusion waiting area, her head back, eyes closed, skin nearly gray.
Charlotte, I'm Dr. Patrick. I've been your oncologist for 6 months. Tell me why you've missed 2 cycles.
My mother canceled the family plan. She used the money for my sister's destination wedding. She said I could skip a few cycles.
That is medically irresponsible, and I consider it patient abandonment. I'm going to pursue every avenue. You have my word.
I didn't think anyone would believe me. Thank you, doctor.
There are protocols for this. I'm not letting it go.
She walked out of the hospital with no treatment, but this time she had an ally. And an ally was the first medicine she'd received in weeks. Back in his office, Dr. Patrick pulled up the patient advocate's direct line. His fingers were steady.
This is Dr. Patrick. I have a patient in active cancer treatment who was deliberately cut off by her family.
Linda's response came quickly. Deliberately? I need the details, doctor.
Her mother canceled the family insurance plan to pay for the sister's destination wedding. Charlotte has missed 2 cycles.
The intake form appeared on Linda's screen, and she began documenting the timeline.
I'm opening a case. This qualifies for an ethics board review. We'll escalate immediately.
Dr. Patrick then dialed Charlotte. The phone rang twice before her tired voice answered.
Charlotte, I've spoken with the patient advocate. Your case is being reviewed. You won't be invisible.
Charlotte's voice broke. I didn't think anyone would move this fast. Thank you for not letting me slide.
He set the phone down with a weight that felt both heavy and righteous. The system had started to turn. Within 48 hours, the hospital ethics board convened in a room with no windows and too much fluorescent light.
This patient's treatment was withdrawn by her own mother, not for lack of funds but to finance a wedding. Her prognosis without continued treatment is severe.
The documentation confirms the policyholder voluntarily canceled the plan. This meets the legal definition of medical neglect.
The board asked few questions. The evidence was undeniable. The board issued a ruling. Charlotte's case qualified as medical abandonment, granting her immediate access to the state catastrophic care fund. The approval stamp hit the paper before Charlotte even knew the board had convened.
Charlotte, it's Dr. Patrick. The ethics board approved your case. Your treatment is fully covered as of this morning.
Charlotte's sob was audible through the phone. I can come back? I can keep fighting?
Her next infusion was scheduled within 4 days. The medical machine had corrected what her family had broken. But even as relief flooded in, she felt the cold echo of the betrayal. Some wounds a hospital couldn't heal. The infusion room held its breath, waiting for her. The chair was hers again. Charlotte settled into the recliner, and the nurse found a vein on the first try. The clear liquid slid into the tubing, and for the first time in weeks, her body relaxed. Dr. Patrick stopped by mid-infusion. He rested a hand on her shoulder.
You're back where you need to be. That's all that matters right now.
I owe you everything, doctor. You gave me back my treatment.
They shook hands firmly, a quiet pact sealed between patient and doctor.
But hope isn't enough. I need to make sure no one can weaponize my health ever again.
She watched the drip for a long moment, her mind already drafting the legal road ahead. When the first bag was empty, the nurse replaced it, but Charlotte's resolve had already refilled. The legal aide handed her a single page. Healthcare proxy. Charlotte's fingers curled around the pen.
If my mother's name is on this line, she can stop my breathing machine. She already tried to stop my chemo. Catherine Harper. That's the only name that belongs here.
The beneficiary designation form came next. Karen Morrison struck through with one clean line.
She wrote Catherine's name in the blank space below. Her hand didn't shake.
The emergency contact section. Charlotte stared at it the longest.
There it is. A single sheet of paper that says you are not my family anymore.
She signed all 3 forms. The ink dried fast.
I'm not just erasing her from my life. I'm erasing her power to ever threaten it again.
She left the office with no copies, no hesitation. The severance was complete. Later that afternoon, Charlotte's phone lit up with a name she'd tried to erase from her world. The first voicemail began, "Charlotte, I need you to pick up the cake for Amelia's tasting on Thursday. Call me."
She's calling about cake. I could be dying, and she's calling about cake.
The calls came in clusters, 4, then 6, then 10, each one ignored, each one louder in its silence. Charlotte pressed the silence button hard enough to hurt her thumb, then tossed the phone onto the bed. The third voicemail ended with, "I don't know why you're punishing me, Charlotte. This is supposed to be a happy time for the family."
A happy time. While my blood counts drop because she chose flowers over my chemo.
The voicemail box filled, then overflowed, then locked. Not one message asked how she was. She turned the phone off completely, plunging the apartment into a deeper, cleaner quiet.
They can't reach me if I don't give them a ringing line. That's my peace now.
The wedding happened without her, and she didn't feel the crack she expected.
I found out because my phone buzzed with tagged photos. Not a single call.
She scrolled. Amelia in white, Karen beaming beside her, a sunset beach behind them.
Not one picture cropped to include me. Not one comment asking where I was.
The cake was 5 tiers. The floral arch must have cost more than a chemo session.
I paid for that arch. My treatment funded every petal.
She closed the app, set the phone aside, and felt something unexpected. No regret.
They made their choice. I made mine. My life is still here.
She didn't cry. She just stared out the window and let the silence hold her. For the first time, she understood that absence could feel like freedom. 6 months later, Charlotte lay inside the scanner, waiting for the machine to deliver its verdict.
The cold tube felt like a coffin. But I'd already survived a mother's betrayal. I could survive this.
An hour later, Dr. Patrick pulled up the scan on the monitor, and his expression softened.
Charlotte, there's no evidence of disease. You're in complete remission.
Charlotte's hand flew to her mouth, tears spilling before she could even form a word.
You did the impossible. You fought through every obstacle. I'm proud to be your doctor.
They sat in the quiet of the office, the hum of the building far away, while Charlotte wept the tears she'd been holding for months.
All she tried to take from me, and here I am, alive.
Dr. Patrick printed the scan report and handed it to her as if it were a diploma. She saved the image to her phone, not just as proof, but as a promise. The engraved envelope arrived on a Tuesday, tucked between bills she no longer feared opening. Inside, Karen's handwriting curled across the card. "It's been a hard year for all of us. Family should heal together."
Hard year. She has no idea what hard means.
That evening, she showed the card to Catherine, who read it twice before speaking.
She wants you at her anniversary party? After everything she did? This isn't about healing.
I know, but maybe it's a chance to close this chapter. Not for her, for me.
If you go, you take your truth with you. Don't let her rewrite what happened.
She's going to stand there and talk about our hard year. I need to be in that room when she does.
She placed the invitation on the counter, her fingers steady. The decision was made. But the real question wasn't if she would go, it was what she would leave behind when she walked out. Charlotte parked a block away, letting the valet lights blur into the fog. She needed the walk to steady her pulse.
Charlotte, you came. I knew you wouldn't miss this. You look, well?
Hello, Mom. The venue is beautiful.
Across the room, Amelia raised a flute with her husband, whispering and glancing toward Charlotte without approaching. Guests turned slightly, noticing the daughter no one had seen in a year. The air thickened with unasked questions.
Find a seat, honey. I'll be doing a little toast later. So much to be grateful for.
Grateful. That's the word she's going with.
Charlotte found a high-top table near the back. She didn't sip her wine, she just watched. When Karen pulled Amelia into a hug near the dessert table, Charlotte felt nothing. That nothing was the most dangerous thing in the room because it no longer needed anything from them. When the glasses were full, Karen lifted her own and tapped the crystal until the room fell quiet.
To Amelia and her wonderful husband, we are so proud of the life you're building. It's been a hard year for all of us, but our family faces everything together. Through every trial, we've held each other close. That's what family does.
Charlotte's jaw tightened. Beneath the table, her phone waited, the scan image only a tap away.
Stuck together? She left me to die.
The room raised their glasses. A chorus of "hear, hear" followed Karen's toast. Then Charlotte stood, her chair scraping loud against the hardwood. Every gaze pivoted. The smile on Karen's face froze, halfway between proud and confused. Charlotte lifted her phone, the screen still dark. Then her thumb woke the image.
We didn't all have the same year, Mom.
She turned the phone toward the room. The scan glowed. PET CT. No evidence of disease. Karen's champagne glass dipped, liquid nearly spilling as the color drained from her face. The room fell into a silence so absolute the clink of a single fork sounded like a gunshot. Charlotte set the phone on the nearest table, screen still glowing, and turned her back on her mother. Each step toward the door felt like tearing a page out of a book she'd never wanted to read.
Charlotte, wait.
Her pace never slowed. Not a flinch, not a glance, just the soft click of the exit door. Amelia stood frozen, tears carving tracks through her foundation, but Charlotte never saw. Outside, the night air hit her face like a promise she'd finally kept to herself. She found her car on the quiet street and slid inside, the door closing with a solid, final thud. For a full minute, she just sat there, hands resting on the wheel, breathing in the silence.
No more voicemails. No more pretending. Just this.
She turned the key and the engine hummed, a gentle vibration that felt like a heartbeat. The city streets unwound before her, each block loosening the knot that had lived in her chest all year. Every red light was a pause to remember. She'd walked in alone and walked out alive.
They wanted a story about a family that healed. I gave them a story about a woman who survived.
She didn't drive home. She drove toward Catherine's apartment, where the light would still be on. The highway stretched dark and open, and for the first time in her life, the road belonged to her. She allowed herself one long exhale, and the past cracked open just enough to let the future in. The Bluetooth disrupted her thoughts with Catherine's name glowing on the dashboard.
Kath. It's done. I said it.
You did it. Tell me everything. What happened?
I stood up during her toast. I held up my scan. I told her we didn't all have the same year.
Catherine's laugh came through the speakers, bright, incredulous, full of pride.
You walked out of that party with a clean scan in your hand? That's legendary. Charlotte.
Charlotte smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes, and for a moment the world felt weightless.
I feel like I can breathe again. Like I just put down a weight I've been carrying forever.
Welcome to the rest of your life, Charlotte. You earned every second.
They stayed on the line. No need for words, the hum of the engine and Catherine's kitchen noises blending. Catherine swung the door open before Charlotte's knuckles could even form a fist, the porch light spilling around her like a welcome. They held each other on the threshold, no words, just the simple geography of two people who knew what home meant. Inside, the scent of chamomile tea and fresh bread wrapped around Charlotte like a blanket.
Sit. I've kept the kettle humming for an hour.
You knew I'd come here.
A calico cat wound between Charlotte's ankles, purring as if it had been waiting all night. Charlotte sank onto the couch, the pillows swallowing her weight, and for the first time she felt carried.
This is the only place I have ever been enough.
You have always been enough. They just couldn't see it.
They sat in the warm silence, and the city outside grew dimmer, unable to reach them. Catherine returned with two stemmed glasses, the wine dark as the night beyond the window.
To the family we choose.
Not the one that shares my blood, but the one that shares my heartbeat.
Their glasses met with a crystalline note that seemed to echo in the quiet room.
This is my real legacy. Not the one they tried to leave me with, but the one I built.
Catherine smiled and set down her glass, their hands finding each other across the small table. No more voicemails. No more family photos where I'm cropped out. Just this real and enough. The calico cat leaped onto the sofa beside them, and Charlotte felt its purr travel through the cushions. They didn't speak of the party again. It was already a memory, fading like a bad dream. Charlotte closed her eyes, and for the first time in a year, she knew she would wake up safe. Morning broke gently through the balcony curtains, painting the room in pale gold. Charlotte slipped from the couch and stepped onto the small balcony, the air crisp with new light. Below, the city was waking, but up here, there was only silence and the slow promise of dawn.
I made it. Through the betrayal, through the chemo, through that party, I made it.
She closed her eyes and let the sun warm her face, feeling the edges of her new life settle around her. The phone in her pocket still held the scan, but she didn't need to look at it anymore. She was the proof.
My mother tried to erase me, but I'm still here. I'm more here than ever.
A sparrow landed on the railing, tilting its head as if to acknowledge her. It didn't fly away. This was her life now, still, strong, and entirely her own. And the morning stretched ahead, wide and unwritten, waiting for the woman who had remembered how to live.